Hello trainers, this first episode is going to be about preparing for major events such as Community Day and this Pokemon Go Fest that's coming up in about a week. I'm going to cover topics such as preparing for them during the week beforehand and what you want to be doing while playing them to optimize your time. So all of that being said, let's just go ahead and get started. Welcome to the first episode of Sunday Pokemon, a series designed to help you guys optimize your Pokemon Go experience, whether you're new to the game or a seasoned veteran. Just as a quick reminder, I am going to index all of my videos just in the description, just so that way you guys can access the information you're actually here for that much faster. So let's go ahead and cover the first item on that list, which is items. Leading up to the event, you predominantly want to be getting your items ready. There are two main kinds of items that you're going to be looking for when you're gearing up for a catching intensive event. And of those two, the first one I'm going to talk about is berries. Of the two berries that you're going to be looking for, the first one I'm going to mention is the Pinap berry. Bear in mind that these events provide you, hopefully, with rarer Pokemon that normally don't show up a whole lot. Seeing as we need a massive amount of candy to both evolve those Pokemon and power them up, the Pinap berry helps you get more candy for them. And bear in mind that lower evolutions of the Pokemon give you less candy, whereas higher evolutions give you more. Therefore, if you use the Pinap berry on a Larvitar, you're actually going to get 6 candy, whereas if you use one on a Tyranitar, you get 20. Those higher evolutions are rarer in the wild, but they are going to be showing up in raids, especially during these events. Pick and choose which Pokemon you want more candies for and toss Pinaps at them during these events, particularly at the lower level ones, since they're easier to catch and aren't as likely to run away, especially since this berry doesn't actually do you any favors when it comes to catching them. But for those higher leveled Pokemon that are harder to catch but you really want to keep, especially when they're shiny, you're definitely going to need to use the Razz Berry. This one makes Pokemon more friendly towards you, which makes them easier to catch, and therefore you want to pair it with a stronger ball, like an Ultra Ball, just so that way they're less likely to break out and flee on you. That's why you want to have as many of this berry going into the event as possible. Now, you're going to want, if you can store that many, to be holding around 50 of both kinds of berries when you go into the event. Except the Pinap berry, which you just want more of, period. I'm sitting on 119 right now. That you just want for events that have a variety of rare Pokemon, like GoFest, or when you're coming up on a community day that's featuring a Pokemon you really want a lot more candy for. Now, when it comes to Pokeballs, in general, you're going to want as many of all three kinds as possible. This way you can give yourself the ability to decide which ball you're going to throw at what kind of Pokemon. If you encounter a lower level Pokemon, a standard Pokeball will suffice, whereas if you get blessed with a stronger Pokemon or something absurdly rare or shiny, you're going to want as many Ultra Balls as possible, just so that way you can use those for those kind of Pokemon. Also, bear in mind that gifts are actually currently set to hand out more of all three kinds of Pokeballs as possible. So if you want, you can go ahead and get a good back and forth going with your friends when it comes to sending gifts, just so that way you can use that to collect them. For berries, you're going to want to spin gyms, because in my personal experience, I've noticed that while regular Pokestops and gifts will really give any kind of items, gyms seem to be really more giving any kind of item that's not a Pokeball. So that'll be where you're getting your berries from. Another main thing that you're going to want is space for both items and Pokemon. More space for items means that you can actually hold more to use during the event, while more Pokemon storage means that you can focus on catching Pokemon when you're playing, rather than transferring them during the event just to make room for more so you can keep catching during the event. Now, the best way to do this for both is by keeping up with your daily gym work, just so that way you can collect as many coins and buy as much storage for both as you see fit. However, the more efficient way to allocate space for events is by deleting things. When it comes to items, you want to tackle the items you feel like you're not using as much in general. But when it comes to Pokemon, you're going to want to tackle the lower IV ones that are probably not going to do as well in battle. That being said, for those of us who are still appraising Pokemon one by one, just to decide which ones to keep, I'm going to show a search bar feature that actually makes this process way faster that most of us might not be aware of. Now, if you hit the Pokemon list and then head over to the top right corner where you see this magnifying glass, you hit that and then you punch in 0 and star, what'll pop up are actually all of those Pokemon that fall into that 0 to 50% IV window that causes them to be 0-star when you appraise them. Now, if you don't want to keep any of these Pokemon at all, you can always go back to this screen and hard press on it, and that will basically just go ahead and let you select as many as you want as possible, just so you can transfer them to the professor all at once and transfer them that much faster. If you don't want to keep any of your 1-star Pokemon or 2-star either, you can also do the same thing with that, just so that way you can go ahead and make as much space as possible before the event. If you search with 3-star, you'll actually find all of the ones that, when appraised, fall into that upper 90s percentage, just so that way you can mark these and go ahead and know that you want to keep those. And you also don't want to delete or trade them. I'm going to cover in another video when you do want to trade, but we'll get to that later. Now, bear in mind that this does not find all of your fantastic Pokemon. The reason why is because your 100%ers will only show up when you go to the search and punch in 4-star. Once you punch in 4-star, what'll pop up are those perfect Pokemon whose IVs are all at 100%. So bear in mind that 3-star does not find all of the ones that you want to be keeping. Now, I recommend that you guys use this feature to try to prepare beforehand by making as much room as possible. For my higher leveled players, I recommend making way more room than you need to, probably as much as 500 or even higher than that you're just ready to have a space to catching Pokemon. For my lower leveled players, since I know you can't hold as many Pokemon total in general, I know that they might be a higher challenge to find ones that you can transfer. I highly recommend that you guys make room for like maybe 50 to 100, and then use this search bar feature to delete Pokemon on the fly during the event. That way you don't have to basically be as selective before the event, and you can just keep as many as possible. Now, while playing the event, the main thing you're clearly going to want to focus on is catching Pokemon. The other thing you also want to do is make sure you're at a location such as a community park or a tourist area that has a high density of spin spots, just so that way you can replenish your supplies on the run. The other thing that you want to also make sure that you're doing is making a list beforehand of Pokemon that you want to spend more time catching, or you can make one on the fly, like if Larvitar makes a surprise appearance during the event, that's clearly something you're going to want to go for. That way, you're not spending too much time catching things that you don't really need this event for, like Caterpie or Weedle, or things that are just so common that they show up all the time and you don't really want to spend too much time on them, rather than things like Dratini or Larvitar, even Beldum if those are there, just so that way you can focus more time on them and prioritize those. And that's gonna wrap up our first episode. I'm planning on releasing the next one about 2 weeks from now, which is gonna cover how to get ready for raids, but also some notable Pokemon worth collecting for raids. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. Good luck out there, trainers, and see you next time.